Hi guys, I think I've got a workable solution to having our own custom sets of tile images. This can include different sets for different teaching departments, etc. This is the standard out-of-the-box images you might be familiar with, including, you'll notice this little pencil symbol for the all sections link. What we're going to do in essence is, rather than adding custom icons, which we've previously been doing, and if you recall, we've done that by going up here and setting a background. We're no longer going to do that. We're just going to leave the images as the default. But we're going to call a CSS file into this page that will in essence override the existing images. What we're going to do to make that happen is we're going to edit this top general section, which is where we put our heading text, etc. So I'm just going to click here. We're going to jump into the code, and we're going to insert a little bit of code that invokes a CSS file. I'll explain more about this file later on. So this is now going to call in to this Moodle site a CSS file. I hit update and I hit save. And what you might notice as I turn editing off is now those images are automatically replaced with the images which were described in the CSS file. So now you'll see I've very quickly redecorated this whole site with our own customized set of images, including, you might notice, a replacement to the all sections tile, which we've never previously been able to do. We've not been able to control that. Now, we could use this same approach to replace not just a generic set of images, but perhaps our beauty images, automotive, whatever discipline area. We could create slightly customized versions of the CSS and the images, and then reuse this same methodology all throughout Moodle, which I think has got some great advantages. The other real advantage to it is that imagine that we had 20 or 30 sites that had all used this standard template, and then we decided for whatever reason that we no longer liked one of these images. We can change that image centrally, and all of those 20 or 30 Moodle sites will be updated immediately with that new image. So I think it's got some real strengths over and above the existing approach. So let me show you behind the skin of things just a little bit. The CSS file that is called upon looks a bit like this. It's very simple actually, and basically it says to replace the image, this is the bit which is the banner, replace the image with this image here. And this important symbol basically says override whatever's there. So as we go down, this one's basically saying replace tile 1 with this image, tile 2 with that image, and so it goes down the screen. Finally, till we get to the thing which tells us to replace the, a little bit further down, the tile all, which is that all used to be the pencil symbol. I can now replace it with my own custom image. So what's happening is that this CSS file is invoking a whole set of images, and then ultimately the tile all. So we could have customized versions of this for our different teaching areas, beauty, etc. But then we've got a dilemma. Where do we place them? Now, Stephen showed me this great trick, which I was completely unaware of. I'm going to have to move my browser down a little bit just to show you this. There's a hidden bit of Moodle that only us as admins get to play with, and this is a good thing. That is actually the area that stores our front page. And you get to that by putting this string in, query redirect equals 0. That gets us to the front page, and it's where you can edit the screen. Please don't do that, but it's a nice little back door into a hidden file system that I didn't know was there. If you look now to the administration tab, you can gain access to the legacy files. So if I click onto that, what I've done is to create a folder called tiles, and into that I've got a folder called default, which contains those CSS files and the images files that you saw a moment ago. So if you can imagine, then we could create a set of folders here, one for each of the teaching areas, departments, qualifications, whatever granularity we want. So for instance, we could create a beauty folder, create a beauty set of images in that in a CSS file, and then apply that to the beauty sites. So I'm going to show you now how I can apply this default set to one of my broken set of images. Remember, we've got now this major problem. We've got broken stuff all over the place. I'm going to go into one of the broken ones. Give me one moment for that. Here's my broken one. I'm going to edit this and invoke that CSS file. By the way, I'll I'll give you the code that you need to paste in with the email, so you won't need to remember this, but I'm going to paste that code in, and I'm going to update. So that's half of the solution. If I look at it, it will still probably be quite broken. Nope, still no images. What we now need to do, rather counterintuitively, is we need to remove the existing broken background, in essence resetting those back to the defaults again, and then our CSS file will kick in. So I'm just going to quickly go through and remove these backgrounds. Remove that one. Remove this one. And just go down the page doing the same. It's a bit tedious, but it won't take more than, say, a minute per Moodle site. Remove that one. Here's another one. Look, I've probably missed a few, but I'll save it now and we'll return to what we've got. And now the moment that we've removed the custom background, our CSS file kicks in, replaces those default images, and we've got now a beautiful sort of sustainable model, I think, for having versions of this for different areas, teaching areas. What I'll do is, and I've had this conversation with Stephen, he's already familiar with how we can now copy and paste effectively sets of CSS files and images and then quickly swap them out. So if you wanted to create one for beauty, you would simply copy the existing folder of stuff, rename it to beauty, and then replace the existing images with beauty related images, as long as you kept the same name. So if I go back momentarily to this, if you replace this tile 1 with an image of the same name, it would just work. And before I leave, I'll do that to the main beauty template so that you have a starting point for future work. So there you go, my parting gift to you guys. Have fun.